Well, welcome to Chop It Up. I know we just had a little technical difficulty. It didn't look like it was going through on my channel, but we're there now. We're live. Welcome to Chop It Up for the Tuesday of the 17th in May here in the year of our Lord and Savior 2022. My name is Kevin, host of the podcast. As always, joined by my brothers from other mothers. I'll let them introduce themselves, and we will jump into the conversation today.
Bro, it sounds like you're about to start your doctoral thesis there, the year of our Lord.
Listen,
2022. I was like, okay, what are we in for today?
Gotta go biblical every now and then.
Right.
Well, we got to show every now and then that I guess we are, believers and Christians,
Yes.
I guess. Got to show it, got a little bit. Tari Watkins, like I said, Oklahoma City. Yeah, that's about it.
Wow.
I'm gonna let that be. We got a lot to
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I was expecting behind in the year of our Lord and in the fullness of time.
fullness of time,
In the fullness of
grace.
Man,
Or at least a father of Abraham, father of Isaac, father of Jacob, and father of me.
Hey, I'm just trying to make sure that I don't come off as the distant cousin of Peter because homeboy sliced ears, bro. And that's, I'm in a different mindset right now. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Yep.
Darian Lewis, Tulsa, Oklahoma. As always, happy to be here.
Yes, sir.
All right. So yeah, we've got something to talk about today, but I don't want to spend the entire time talking about that because yeah. All right, but I wanted to, something I saw on Twitter today, I wanted to just throw out and see kind of what your thoughts were, what your ideas, what your list looked like. And so the question came, if you could design your dream dunk contest, right? Your dream dunk contest.
That's how we're starting today? Okay.
Any player, any era.
Oh my goodness.
You have 4 players.
Oh my gosh.
4 players to design your dream dunk contest. This is your money-making pay-per-view.
We got no heads up on this, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh no, I gave no heads up.
Heads up.
Again, this is completely off the top, off the dome. I immediately came up with my 4. So I've had my 4 since I looked at this earlier, but my 4 has been consistent since I had first saw it. All right. So if you want, I can give mine first since I've had a moment to prepare.
Yeah, let's do that.
Man, let's see that's all right, go ahead, bro.
And again, and mine may surprise you. All right. So, and no in particular, and not in any particular order. This is not, I'm ranking them. And again, let me also say this, because we've also done one gotta go and that type of stuff. This does not mean that anybody that you do not pick never dunks again, has never participated in dunk contest. This is not.
Yeah, we're only doing 4. That'd be
4.
right. But this is, if you could put them all up against each other in their prime, whatever, and create a pay-per-view, and you have to live off of the pay-per-view proceedings off of this.
I'm about to get paid.
Oh yeah, I'm about to get
paid. Just to let you know.
All right. So my 4 would be Vince Carter. Okay. My number 2 would be Zach LaVine.
Okay.
My number 3 would be Aaron Gordon. And my number 4 would be Dominique Wilkins.
Boy, this is hard, bro.
Okay. That's my 4. Okay. And I can, if you want, I can explain, because notably one, Jordan's not on there. Okay.
Did he ever do a dunk? Yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah, he did. He won
did.
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember him and Dominique went head to head?
Right. And and again, Jordan had the iconic, from the free throw line,
Right.
he had those iconic ones. No, no question about that. No shade against that. But if I'm putting together my 4, Vince Carter, Aaron Gordon, and Zach LaVine, simply because those 2 gave us what I believe to be the top dunk contest, at least of the past 20 years or so.
Oh, okay. I was going to say of at least the past 20. Yes.
Those 2 alone, right? And Aaron Gordon, I don't think gets the due that he deserves. Zach LaVine and him put on an amazing show. So that's why they're in my top 4. And then the human highlight reel,
Dominique,
yeah. Wow. Because other names were popping across, but Dominique, yeah, that would be my top 4. Okay. Now, while you all are thinking about that, I'm going to throw out Tarsha's because she gave me her 4.
Check this out. I love it.
So
boy, I'm ready for this.
She agreed. She agreed with my 3 of Vince Carter, Aaron Gordon, and Zach LaVine. Her 4th, the initial 4th that she said was John Morant, and then she gave us a backup would be Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Huh.
He too tall. He don't count.
Thank you.
What?
He don't thank you. He don't count. He don't need hops. He don't need hops. He don't.
And for me, I was like, John Morant. Yes, he's dunking on folks right now. I just haven't seen. I haven't seen that. I've seen the creativity, yes, but I don't know. I've seen. Listen, I've seen the creativity.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not saying that I haven't seen that, but I'm just saying when I put him, when I'm looking at the body of work right now of what I've seen, he doesn't crack my top 4.
But
Is he a nice alternate? Absolutely.
Everybody that you've named has been in a dunk contest. He has not.
That's true too.
So, I mean, I get that you haven't seen a body of work, but we've seen a body of work in game. I'm like, okay, what is he going to do when there's nobody on him and he's jumping through the roof?
Okay,
I'm not saying that he's on my list. He probably is, but I don't. Yeah.
All right. But Giannis, I was like Giannis. He just does.
Tasha, I love you. Nah, he got to go. He don't count.
All right.
You just gonna tell the woman she can't have?
Hey, all right. I'm multiple hours away by car.
I'm here.
4 hours away by plane.
I'm here, and I was like, if that's how you want to run your pay-per-view, go right ahead. I'm not living off of that. Mine is solid.
Dude, you cut even deeper with that, man. You said, woman, you affected my wallet.
Listen, I'm talking about, major UFC type money. All right. So, fellas, yours. Let's hear them.
Darren, you got yours?
No. Nope.
All right. So the way I did a really quick list, and unfortunately, I've got 8 names on here. And I don't know how to narrow this down from the other 5, I guess, that I put question marks by. But first and foremost, for me, Vince. If you go by one name, I'm okay with that. So I got Vince, I got Mike, because I remember that iconic dunk contest with him and Dominique in high school. Us coming back and in class and just going, what did we just see? I mean. At that time and that day, phenomenal. Now, the next one I have, because we've never seen this person does have a body of work, and I've always wanted to see him in a dunk, whether you like him or not. I mean, dunk contest, whether you like him or not. I want to see LeBron in one. One, because in his prime, the dude was a beast. And you're talking pay-per-view. He's going to bring money. We already know this. Whether you like him or hate him, people are going to watch. Now, as far as the 4th spot, I've got Ja, Dominique, Zach, Gordon, and Kemp. So I don't know which one to pick. Sean Kemp back in the day, even though he has like 9,000 babies, the dude could jump through the roof and he could yoke it. And that was in game. Ja, sheer athletic ability, what he's doing in game, I want to see what he can do when there's nobody on him. He has free reign to jump through the roof, because right now he's doing it. I mean, his head is at the rim now in game, so just to see what he's going to be able to do without anybody on him. Gordon and Zach LaVine, we already know why. So if I had to pick a 4th, for pay-per-view reasons, Vince, Mike, LeBron, and Ja. That would be my 4 for a slam dunk contest. The Mike and LeBron thing, we're going to get people watching because who's the best? And I mean, what better money grabber than to have those 2 in there? Vince Carter, first one to do the arm through the rim, and we just like, what just happened? What did we just watch? And when you replayed it and realize that his elbow was already here anyway before it went, it's not like he scooped in and put it in.
Right.
No. That would be my four. With all the other ones, a close fourth: Dominique, Zach, Gordon, and Kemp. But so I'm going with Ja, Mike, LeBron, and Vince, in no particular order.
Okay.
Dude, this was hard, man.
I got three. I'm having a hard time getting this fourth one because I'm going for a theme.
Uh-oh. What,
Yeah, I'm having a hard
superheroes
time
like
going for a
Dwight
theme.
Howard?
All right. What?
Did you say Dwight Howard?
What?
Or are we talking like the Muggsy Bogues,
The softest.
There you
Spud
go.
Webb,
I mean, we got Muggsy
Spud
Bogues, we got
the
Spud
6 feet
Webb,
and under?
bro.
Yes, sir. Spud Webb is my number one.
Don't say
Nate
don't
Nate
don't
Robinson
say
number two.
that. Ooh, okay.
Muggsy Bogues number three.
You won a
And-
couple, right?
Yeah.
Nate Robinson, didn't you win a
Uh-huh.
couple?
All of them did.
He went
Oh,
head.
well, him and
well,
Spud
Mug-
did.
Against no competition?
Who we talking about? Nate?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying, just
Yeah, but they played that up though, man. They played that real good. He came out in the green. The kryptonite. I loved it. It. That was classic. But yeah, so I got those three, and I just can't. I haven't found my fourth one because I am running with this theme. So yeah, I'll probably have to come back later on. Like if the subject is too heavy, I'll bring it back.
Okay. Okay.
Don't look at me like that, Tori. I don't have a fourth man.
I wasn't looking at you, I was looking at the camera.
I felt the eyes staring at me prophetically.
Felt it in your soul, didn't you?
Just yeah. Like dude, for
Now,
real.
the part of the reason that I saw that was because LeBron, basically the question was put out there, and LeBron put on his Twitter, he listed himself among Dominique, Levine, and Vince.
Well, he can't.
As one of the best dunkers?
I mean, he's never been in a dunk contest. Now,
One.
in his prime, I mean, I would have loved to see that. Man, everybody wanted to see that.
Here's my thing. Here's my thing, though. I don't know that he would be dunk contest material.
Right.
He's a power dunker. He's
But how
the
do we
one,
know that though?
because that's all he's done.
Man, that's like Shaq saying he's
That's all he's done his entire career.
I'm not saying I support his statement. I'm not saying that he's one of the best. But we don't know. I mean, in his prime, dude's a beast, man. And his creativity, I'm sure that creativity is there. I mean, he grew up watching everybody else.
He flops differently each time. Yes, I'll give you that.
Okay,
His
we're
creativity
talking
is
dunks,
flopping.
man. We're not talking
But
flopping. Come
again,
on,
but-
Kev.
No,
Be
but
real
here's
with you.
I'm saying. Listen though, we see the creativity from Ja, right?
Yes.
We've seen the creativity from Jordan in game. We've seen the creativity from Vince in game. We've seen the creativity from Aaron and Levine, right? So all of them, we see creativity outside of the contest
Right.
and in game.
I'll give you that.
LeBron just who.
I'll give you that too. I'll
That's
give you that
all
too.
he does. So
But
if
don't
I'm looking
forget-
for
Go ahead.
if I'm looking for a dunk contest where I'm looking for more than just jumping up and throwing it down,
That's
I'm
not what
looking
you
for
said,
because the
You
question was
said pay-per-view. I'm thinking about numbers and getting paid. I don't care if the boy can't dunk or not. If I got Michael and LeBron in a dunk contest, I'm getting paid. I'm basing it on pay-per-view numbers. Now, if we take pay-per-view out, I'll probably agree with you. So if you take out the piece of making money in pay-per-view, I'm probably agreeing with you on that. But
I get
I'm going by the pay-per-view piece. That's a huge piece. We're talking money. We're talking who's going to tune in, who's going to pay $100 on pay-per-view, or who's going to pack out a stadium or an
well,
arena.
then if that's the case, then you got to give Tarsha back Giannis.
well, I mean, there's
Nah.
because here's the thing, and maybe
I ain't got to do nothing. Love you, Tarsha.
maybe I
Let me
did
sit.
as far as pay-per-view and dunk contests negating each other, because I was focusing on the dunk contest portion of it.
But
Because
that's
from
not
a
what you
dunk,
said, though. Yes.
right. And so I recognize that for you, the pay-per-view negated or at least diminished what I was putting the focus on, which was the dunk contest.
I agree with you. I'm trying to retire, bro. I'm trying to get my
I
house
get that.
paid off.
Because
I'm trying to invest some money.
Can we
I'm trying
just
to
be
feed
honest?
my grandkids.
There's other people that we could have in a dunk contest, whether they dunk or not, that would make pay-per-view money. So
That's true.
So all right, so we can agree to disagree.
If you hadn't said pay-per-view, Kev, I would have agreed with you 100%.
I got you.
Hey, I got a caveat to that question, and I don't know if this is answerable. If it sounds stupid, just forgive me.
You're putting that out ahead of time.
I am. I'm putting it out ahead of time because y'all literally listen. Y'all two may look at me like, and we're moving on. So here's my question.
Okay,
so here's my question. My question is same scenario, dunk contest, pay-per-view,
Okay.
but non-basketball players. Any athlete,
Ooh.
non-basketball.
There's some of them out there, bro, that I've seen dunk. Hey, you may laugh at this, but King Griffey Jr. got some hops, bro. Griffey Jr. and he's a small dude. That would be amazing. Michael Irvin back in the day, Deion Sanders.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hey, these brothers. How high could Bo Jackson jump? We saw what he did on the baseball field when he scaled a freaking wall with his tree trunk legs, and they should.
Did he take 1 or 2 steps?
He went 1, 2, and up. No, he went 1, 2. Maybe it was 3.
Did he do 3?
And his knee should have blown up. He should have broken some leg going that fast because they did a sports science thing on it, and just the sheer force of what he did, dude. Yeah, if I knew Bo Jackson had some hops, which I think he would, that would be amazing to see because he was an athlete, bro. Athlete. That's a good question, Darian.
Who was it? There was one player that played in the, what was it? The Celebrity Game. I'm trying to figure out who it was. It was a football player.
Oh, Chris Carter had hops too. He was in a slam dunk contest.
Carter did, sure did.
Yeah, he had hops too, man.
Myles Garrett.
Okay.
Oh, I haven't seen him.
He was dunking stuff in the Celebrity Game at this past All-Star.
Really?
Yeah, they got it on video.
Yeah.
There's some of them out there, man. That's interesting.
I'd put Randy Moss out there.
I don't know what he's like on the court. I haven't seen any footage. Have you seen footage of him?
He played ball in high school. I know that.
Yeah,
because he was on the same team. Wasn't he on the same team with White Chocolate, Jason Williams?
Mm-hmm.
Jason Williams, bro. Yeah, do you remember NBA Street?
Yes.
Yeah, the game.
Yeah, I made one, and I made a female one, and I said, Amy, I made this just for you, baby. And she was called White Chocolate. She was dunking all over folks. She's like, I don't know how to take this. I mean, it's a compliment, sweetie. It's a compliment.
You should have. It came from the best places of my heart.
The best places of my heart.
Best places.
I mean, baby, you white, and you got a chocolate man, and you can dribble the ball. I mean, what else do you want? White chocolate.
Hey, it works.
It works.
It doesn't work. Yes, it does.
Steve said Randy can hoop, so.
Oh, Steve. What's up, Steve?
What's going on?
I didn't know Randy could hoop like that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tom Brady. See him on the court, right?
Yeah, man. Let's let that man be great at what he does. Let's just let him be great at what he does and not push that.
I don't think does he still have knees? I mean, just a little.
He got something. He's coming back again.
He's got more than Peyton Manning does, though. That boy's knees were shot.
So
he can throw a rock though. That's a good question, Darian. Yeah, there's quite a few of them out there though.
It would be an interesting one, yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one. All right. So now to something that I don't think any of us were looking forward to, but I think it does because of how we do this show, because this is the barbershop conversations that men are having across the country. This past weekend, we were again faced with a tragic shooting This one was extremely disturbing because it was a white man. I'm not going to call him a teen. I'm not going to call him a boy. A white man went into a grocery store
Mm-hmm.
in a predominantly black neighborhood, specifically targeting black men and women.
Yep.
Killed 10, wounded, I think, a total of 13.
I think
I
so.
think,
Yeah.
think something like that. And again, has this ideology and was basically put on his weapon and on his manifesto about replacement, that essentially people of color are replacing white people. So I told you guys, I've always been a little more Malcolm than Martin in my approach, or in my thoughts, or in my kind of leaning. And this Sunday, even in church, we start off with intercessory prayer and we just pray. But I began to pray for judgment against the institutions, against the individuals, and whatever it may be that continues to promote, continues to turn a blind eye, that continues to give credence to this type of ideology that continues to be in this, primarily in this country, yes, but in the world. So, and I'm call names: Fox News, Tucker Carlson, both political parties in some respects. So, I just want your guys' thoughts, your guys' input, and we can kind of discuss it, chop it up. But I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired.
Well, Kev, we've been tired for a long time, man. It's not that this is a new tired.
True.
This is the same tired we talked about 2 years ago. Same tired I talked about to anybody who wanted to listen to me. That this isn't just something new. I mean, it's something we've been talking about for the past just 6 years. This is a life thing for most of us, if not all of us. And it just really shocks me that I hear comments like, "Well, why does it bother you? You don't live in Buffalo. You don't know any of those people." That that that's not the point. The point is that you don't have individuals out in the open. I'm not saying people don't. I'm not saying that aren't people that don't. I'm not saying there aren't people that target, you know, whites or Caucasian. I'm not saying that, but you don't have that out in the open and it's blatant, and they have no problem in making their view, their beliefs, the way they lean known,
Mm-hmm.
and letting everybody know this is why they do it. I'm not saying that this is worse than anybody else that does it in private. I'm not saying that. But when you have something that is blatant, out in the open, have no problem in stating what you believe and saying that it's justified against a group of people, I have issue with that, and I've had issue with that for decades. And it really just, I don't want to say it blows my mind, but it's disheartening that the first thing that you say to me is you didn't know any of those people in Buffalo, and it's not in your city. That's not the issue. That's not the problem. The hurt comes is because this has been happening for a long time, even before I was born,
Mm-hmm.
and yet and still this stuff isn't condoned out in the open by the masses. It's not. We make excuses, and making the excuse or telling me that it shouldn't affect me is worse, to me, almost as worse as you pulling the trigger. And that's a mindset, and that's a problem for me.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that for now.
Mic drop. Definitely.
I mean,
No,
that's how I
but
feel, man. I mean,
one of the
that's what I
things,
get.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that psychologically speaking, everyone has to deal with the subconscious filter of contrast and comparison.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in this country, when it comes to contrast and comparison, we African Americans or people of color don't have the option of disconnecting from someone else, or I should say, the contrast doesn't come in location,
No, it doesn't.
because the same foolishness that happens in Buffalo happens in Houston, happens in Miami, happens in Seattle, happens wherever we are, happens in Ukraine, happens in France, happens
Yeah.
in London.
Yes.
There is this running theme, and it has been since we have been dispersed around the world. Um, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty deep. And
Yeah, it is.
very unfounded. The idea that somehow, because the reality is everyone came from us. Why would we? God is not, and when I say that, I just mean, color wise. You can get every color out of black. You can, it doesn't work.
That's not science.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Right.
Yes, it is.
No,
Right.
trust me, I know.
Right, and that has nothing to do with race. I mean, the bottom of it's just a scientific fact.
It's
Every
basic biology.
every color comes out of black, and so it is not like that in reverse. And the idea that um, the divine order, I'll just put it that way, of the way we have come about to be where we are as the planet, people on this planet. It's just I can't see that happening. So the idea that there's this fear of some type of takeover, some type of overrun, some type of slow genocide, even of these other nationalities, races, people groups, is number one, is extremely ignorant, which also means you never got out of your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because for you to only see the world in black or white,
Right.
dude, listen, I need you to get a plane ticket. I need you to just go. I need you to just hop around the world one good time.
Just one good time.
Just one good time, and realize that when we say every hue on the spectrum, other than ultraviolet and infrared, is represented
all over the place.
everywhere.
Yep.
Everywhere.
There was a pastor talked about a group that he was asked to come preach to, and when he got there, these people were, and this was their natural makeup. These people were pitch black skin, blue eyes, blonde hair.
Right.
Freaked him out, because not one walked up,
Many.
not two walked up,
Multiple.
whole families.
Yes.
Like this is their DNA genealogy.
Expression,
This is
yep.
who they are. They couldn't help this if they wanted to. This is what it is, and it's like we just haven't. And so that probably is the thing that probably scares me more than anything. When you start digging into certain people's history, you'll realize real quick all they've ever known is black and white.
Yeah.
Yes.
All
where
ever
they were raised there.
known.
That's all they saw.
And they
And
don't
that's
want
what
to
they were
see
fed.
anything else. They don't
No,
want to
they don't.
experience anything else. They don't want to believe anything else. And I'm like, dude, please tell me you don't, I'm like, surely you don't ever get tacos or Chinese food. Like, seriously, like, tell me you don't go eat Italian. Please tell me you don't.
Or, yeah.
Please don't tell me you ever drink vodka.
Bibimbap. I mean,
Just
you've had chicken fried steak, potatoes, and green beans your whole life. That's what you've had, pretty much. Yeah.
and don't have a hamburger, because hamburger is not originally American either.
No, it's not. The sandwich isn't American. The sandwich itself,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Korean. The first sandwich that was ever made. I think.
Is it Korean? I thought it was.
Asian.
I thought it was European.
I thought it was. No, I think it's Earl of Sandwich.
Earl Sandwich, yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Oh, but if I'm not mistaken, they got that from the East, though. If I'm not mistaken, he may have dubbed the name of sandwich, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was from the East. Especially, I forgot what they were called. The little things, the bun, whatever those. I forgot what it was called, but yeah, dude, when you
That's
look at
what
the world as a whole, it is not just one or the other. I remember seeing an article, and I was in high school, and I was telling Juan and Ashley this because they were like, "Man, if we ever have another kid, there's not a possibility they will be darker than either one of us." I said, "Yes, they can." I said, "That's genetics." I said,
Hmm.
"Genetics is incredibly complicated." But this People magazine article had this couple. He was black, she was white. They had like 3 or 4 kids. Like one kid looked like they stepped out of I don't know,
Hmm.
hmm
Boston, Massachusetts.
hmm
Then they had one kid,
Not Roxbury,
black,
but Boston.
black, blue eyes,
hmm
and then the other one was white, brown eyes, but it had different. So
Hmm.
I said the way our genetics, the way our DNA is one, it's incredibly complicated.
Right.
And I said, in order for someone to have blue eyes, both parents, it's a double recessive gene. Both parents have to have that in their DNA. So the dad that was black that had brown eyes, the mom that was white that had brown eyes, both of them in their genes, somewhere in their DNA, both had the blue eyes, and it's a
Recessive gene.
double
Yeah.
recessive. So I had to
Yeah.
match up perfectly, and that's how you're going to get blue eye. This They said, well, that article's fake. I remember seeing it in high school. I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, we're in biology class. I'm like, do y'all not understand the genetic makeup of just people across the world? I said it's not impossible at
Right.
all. And for us to think that it's just a black and a white world and everybody else is just a mix of it, no, it doesn't work that way. And that's naive. That's
Naivete.
naivete. Thank you, my scholars. I appreciate you, love you. At its best, and it's, or I should say, at its worst, probably. But that mindset is toxic.
Yeah.
And when you're raised in that, when that's all you see, when you're taught that, some people refuse to break from it, and that's a problem.
Well, now here's something that, going back to a point that I think Darren you had made kind of earlier, as far as this whole being replaced and what have you, and this fear of it, right?
Right.
One of the things, and this is a clip that I see periodically, and again, let me preface: I do not support him, but I recognize that there is value sometimes in what he says. There's a clip from way back. It was on the Phil Donahue show, I think. So that tells
Oh,
you how
you're
long
about to
ago it
get
was.
canceled.
I probably am, but
You're
okay.
about to get canceled. Just let you know.
But Farrakhan made a statement
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
that
you
base.
really about to get canceled now.
It's okay. Listen, we'll just find new sponsors. It's okay. But he made a statement that the fear of basically repercussions, or this fear of violence from black people and people of color, and this fear of all of that. He says it's really, and I'm paraphrasing. He says it's deep rooted in um, segments of the population, because they fear that if we ever gain power, we'll
Right.
do to them what they did to
It's done
us.
to us. Right.
And so when you have this replacement,
That's a real
this
fear, though.
this replacement theory, and this you will not replace us, and what have you. Listen, I just want to live peaceably among all men. That's the goal. I just want to live in peace.
That's it.
The folks that went to the Tops grocery store just were going to go grocery shopping. They were not plotting. There was not a meeting of all the black people in Buffalo for how to take over. They were
All
going
19 of
to
them.
shop and get groceries, get some lunch meat, get some ham,
Listen,
get some cheese.
you know that targeting a grocery store, you can say whatever you want about mental health. You know that. You know good and doggone well.
Hmm.
No one's going to the grocery store to stand in aisle 7 and
No,
plot how to overthrow the government
Right.
no.
or get rid of, white people in that community.
Hmm.
It's just not happening. Eh, the idea that you target, you almost accidentally hit one of your own. Oh, sorry about that. Target. You're
Right.
not gone.
Hmm. Hmm.
You have faculty enough to distinguish what your motive and your agenda is.
Right.
And the thing that probably disturbs me more than anything, honestly, um, is to me the media suppression.
Hmm.
And it just reminds me how much of a slave to the media outlets we are. It's like, um, are you guys afraid we're going to have 2020 all over again? Or when is someone technically outside of the culture and outside of the community going to finally, that we don't expect and that is not obligated because of political reasons to make statements, really going to say, you know what, enough's enough. We've got to do something different here.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
It has to.
And we haven't listen,
No,
it's the law. That's
no,
just,
we haven't.
we're not asking for a lynching, a law,
No,
the fullest
no.
extent of the law. And yet even that seems dangerous to certain leaders to actually come up and finally say, hey, this has got to end. And it has nothing to do with, I could go down a whole rabbit hole with that, but we've not seen that. And it's almost like, to me, it's almost like man, like, ooh, let's not poke the bear. We don't
You
want to go
mean
back to.
the fullest extent of the law that we've seen happen to us, Darren? Is that what you're talking about?
No, no,
I
no.
was being sarcastic.
I know, because that was no law.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Yes, no.
Yes.
I mean, it's fullest extent of the law that's actually written.
Right. I
When
do want to say
crimes are
this
committed.
before we go any further, and I'm sure I speak for Kev and Darian when I say this. If this happened in reverse, I would be just as adamant in saying it's just as wrong. If I had someone that looked like me and targeted white people or any other race, I will be just as adamant. Now, the scarring won't probably be as deep, but me as a person and a human being and a man that loves God and wants to worship and live and work and have fun with all types of people, I would be just as upset and adamant that the full extent of the law will be executed against them also. So let's not get it. Let's not make sure we're not going to get it twisted and thinking that we're saying that if it was reversed that we wouldn't be. Yes, I would. Right. Because it's wrong for anybody to target anybody that looks different from them because they don't like who they are and what race they are. So I'm just putting.
Can I add to that?
Yes,
can I add to that?
And then
ladies
add
and
to
gentlemen.
that after you.
Okay, because I want to add to that. If that were a black man that did that to black people,
exactly. Yes.
Throw him up under the prison.
Yep.
Yes.
Let him never see daylight.
Yep.
100%, Darian.
Unless you have an execution clause, but we're not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go that far. But I'm just saying.
A whole nother can of worms, brother. Right. Yes.
To the fullest extent of the law.
Fullest.
Because this stuff, these types of actions in this country have to stop. I don't care who it is. Mass shootings, I don't care what the motive is or why. We have got to find a way to the level of terrorism. Everybody is afraid of everybody, and all it does is continue to create a more dangerous scenario for the average person. Because listen, if someone turns the corner on an aisle, and they accidentally trip over a can, and I don't know what they're doing, and I'm carrying, we could have a real good. Oh,
hey, or blows the horn of shofar in the middle of church right beside me. Yes, the same exact thing.
Yes,
bro, I'm right there with you, Darian. That's the way. Unfortunately, that's the way.
But that's my point.
My training that I had 15, 20 years ago of me when I walk out of, I don't know, Walmart, 7-Eleven, doesn't matter, and I stop and I look. There's a reason why. I do that even more now than I used to before. When I go into a restaurant, I scan the room. I do that. I did it before, but even more so now because people are crazy, and I don't know what this person's thinking. I have no idea. So, Darren, you're right. It's created this sense of fear, not just with individuals, but in our country, right? Because we don't know when somebody's just going. I'm not going to say the word snapped, because like you said, these things are calculated.
Right.
He spent days, weeks, months planning this out.
And this
snap is not the right word.
And there was a manifesto basically that laid out what he was thinking, why he was thinking it, and his entire ideology.
Yes.
And so I've even seen folks make a false equivalent saying, basically, well, what about the Black Panthers? So let's deal with that for just a moment.
Wait,
because
what?
Yes, these are things that I'm seeing as I scroll through Twitter, the Black Panthers have a manifesto that the
you
Black
couldn't
Panthers
possibly be educated and make that that
Right.
correlation.
Because, and again, we're talking the actual original Black Panthers, not the new Black Panthers. I don't
Then
know anything about them folks.
right,
I don't
me
know who
either.
they is. I'm talking about the Huey P. Newtons. I'm talking about that
Right.
the original,
The original gun toting, straight up,
the ones
cross
that
this line and we will handle business.
the
Yes,
ones that
those
caused
guys.
California to say we don't want anybody to carry guns. That Black Panther.
Yes.
The Black Panthers that made Ronald Reagan, who is the Republican
Right.
icon, decide against guns while he was governor of California. But all of a sudden, yeah, okay, those Black Panthers, those are the
Yeah.
ones I'm talking about,
The
Yes.
that
original, the
did not
OG.
have anything
Yes.
as far as anti-white for the
Right.
purpose of anti-white.
It was all
It
about
was
community.
it was communicating, protecting our neighborhoods, policing our neighborhoods, and ensuring that our neighborhoods and our people in our neighborhood do not get abused by police that
But
were
remember,
not
that's
good.
not the narrative that gets spun in the media, Kev, or
Well,
Well,
in
the narrative also right now just said that this was a disturbed teen. No, this was a man. Let's just, if you're gonna call Mike Brown a black man, this was a white man who did this. He had the ability to surrender when Tamir Rice did not have the ability to even think before he got shot.
right.
So there is no equivalency in my opinion when you're talking about this young man or this man. I'm this man who is in full use of his capabilities, his mental capabilities, enough that he could write what he wanted to write on his gun, enough that he could present a manifesto of what he thought. There's no equivalency between him and others who have died simply because of the color of their skin.
Right.
well, going back to the Black Panther thing, which that is just to me you're grasping, but um, people are always going to um, what's the word I want to use? I want to say cognitive dissonance, but I don't think that's going to be the appropriate use of
Yeah,
the word.
I don't
Well,
think so.
well, hold on from what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Because what I'm noticing is people will always get very very adamant about an experience they've never had.
Right.
They and so they grasp at a situation where they literally have no reference of understanding why it is the way it is,
Right.
and so they think they're looking at comparing apples to apples when it's
Exactly.
literally bananas to sheep.
Hmm.
Like there's no there's no correlation whatsoever,
Right.
and hearing that screams to me that people still don't get the idea that people aren't lying when they say there's police brutality, systematic, systemic,
Hmm.
prolonged police po- police have been rookies to retirement in producing this level of terror and trying to quote unquote contain that element in their own space. And the reality is, yeah, the Black Panthers, that whole time period, there was just it was just a boil over.
Hmm.
Like, look, we are tired of this.
Retired.
We're
Retired.
tired
Yeah.
of this.
Hmm.
It's unnecessary.
Hmm.
Yes.
It's absolutely unnecessary. Now, if you have individuals who are doing something, let's deal with the individuals. But you know what? Since you don't know how to do that, and this was the
We're
Black
gonna do it
Panthers,
on ourselves.
we'll
Right.
do it for you. We'll
Yes.
do it
We'll
because we
police our
know how
neighborhood ourselves.
we know
Yes.
how to hold restraint. Number one. Number two, you'll grab anybody and do anything, and we can't have that either.
Yeah.
No.
So we're going to protect ourselves. We're going to police ourselves. We're going to educate ourselves. We're going to feed ourselves. We're going
Yeah.
to make a self-sustaining community because other than that, our survival is in peril.
Yeah.
And that, listen, that is what scares America. It scared America when we had the Tulsa, when we had the Greenwood District. It
Hmm.
scares America when we have the Black Panthers doing that. It scares America when people, when black people, let's just put it this way, when black people fight for and protect their self interest and build a community that is self sustaining.
This goes back to the last conversation that we had when I
Yes, it
said we've got
does.
to choose. Are we going to be common and equal? or are we going to be individual and special? And if we're going to be special, then we have to find a way as a community to circle the wagons around each other,
Hmm.
because no other racial group fights for acceptance the way we
Equality
do.
or acceptance like we do.
Hmm.
Yes.
Because now, again, I bring that with balance. E- Every time we've circled the wagons, the wagons have been destroyed
Yes, they have.
every time. So it's like, okay, we can't have our own. So can we have yours? We can't have yours either. So now you know,
You know what's interesting about what you said just now, Darian? We have Chinatown that doesn't get burned down. I look at Oklahoma City now, and you had that large influx of Vietnamese people
Hmm.
during they came to Oklahoma City, Kansas, in certain areas because during the Vietnam War, and they've got pockets. I mean, same thing with Hispanics. I mean, and communities. I mean, huge. But if we do it, we're terrorists. We're running guns. We're running drugs.
Hmm.
Nothing good ever happens
it
there.
has to be ghettoized.
Yes,
It
yes,
has to be, and I mean,
yeah,
it's literally like, you know, if we ever get a chance to really look into the city offices, the city planning offices, the history of the way
yes,
cities were planned. Oh,
yes.
we'll give you the neighborhood, but it literally they like we're gonna do everything we can to ghettoize it.
There's
We're
no
gonna make
funding. The money
no
gets pulled.
none.
Well,
The
not only
schools
that,
don't get funding where they're supposed to.
no
It's
parks. Your
none.
liquor stores are good. Currency
Every corner.
exchanges, check
Yeah.
cashing are perfect.
Loan offices, yeah. Payday
Pawn
Restaurants
loan.
are not
shops.
going to be. Yeah, you
You can put
have
as many as you want to,
got a
but you
McDonald's
can't.
every 500 feet. I mean,
Yeah, you
listen.
can't have legitimate businesses. Oh, McDonald's and a Popeyes, don't forget, or churches, don't
Yeah,
forget.
no,
Yeah,
it's
Oh
got
yeah,
to be
you can have
churches.
fast food all day. Yeah,
yeah.
Popeyes is a little too bougie sometimes,
but even and what's
depending upon
funny,
which one it is.
but what's
You're
funny
not
is
wrong.
even that the owners have to be outside of the community.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes,
You know, because there is no banking institution, like even that is, you know, if we really look at that, you can qualify all day long, but if you identify as, and this has just been proven, we're not saying anything the thing that frustrates me is when we say this stuff, it's like people want to be like whatever, because
like we're
I guess,
making it up.
right, like we just want attention. But the reality is, and it's been historically proven for decades, and upon decades, that if you are identified as African American or Black going for a loan, you can be as loan qualified as the next person. But they're gonna if they give you the loan, the interest rate is twice, if not three times
Oh yeah,
the same thing. If they give it to you,
oh
Hmm.
if
yeah,
they give it to you.
oh yeah. What was the movie? Was it The Banker with Anthony Mackie and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
who was across from him? Who was that?
Not Samuel Jackson. Who was that?
Was it Sam Jackson?
No, it wasn't. Who was that?
The Banker.
Was it
Hold on, I gotta
Cheeto?
look it up now. No, it wasn't Cheeto. Um, uh,
Oh, it was Samuel Jackson. It was Samuel
yeah, that's
Jackson. I
what I
was
thought.
right.
Yeah, him and Samuel Jackson, and because it was based on a true story,
Right.
and that not only happened then, but it systematically happens now. That's a common thread
Hmm.
of being able to get approved or land or funding or I mean, there's so many blockades that are put up that regular people that don't do their investigation or do their own research are there and they don't see it. It's
Yeah.
there, and unfortunately, like you said, Darian, when we bring these things up, oh, you can't prove that. You're just making it up, and that doesn't happen now.
Yeah.
No,
So
it does.
redlining is an outlawed thing that, yeah, it's outlawed.
Listen, at this
But then
point,
you also talk about appraisals. Then you
Yes,
get into the whole thing of appraisals.
yes,
There are several documented stories of black individuals that had an appraisal done, know that it was way too low. They had a white friend that came in, they did the appraisal again, they took all the black pictures out. All of a sudden, miraculously, it goes up 50, 60, $100,000, whatever.
yep,
So you have, again, that impacts wealth.
it
So even
does.
if I live in a great neighborhood and if I want to pull money out to invest, to do business, whatever, I don't have the opportunity to do that as much because my appraisal may look at me wrong.
This is a little known story. I don't know if you guys have seen this one about the guy in the Houston area, the black guy in the Houston area who basically legally took over an abandoned mansion,
Yes.
and the neighborhood was like trying to sue him to get him out.
Hmm.
It doesn't surprise me. It does not surprise me at all.
I think he paid. I can't remember. It was like a ridiculously low amount.
So
Forte. What's up,
Hey,
Forte?
sir.
Been
Good
a
to see
minute.
you. Yeah, man.
look at my wife recommended books.
I
The
saw
Color of
the-
Law by
oh,
Richard
another one,
Offaly. A TV
Educate
show.
us, ma'am.
Listen,
Educate us.
There's a
Please.
show that it's about Boston. We Own the City.
I haven't watched it yet. I saw it pop up on Plex. Okay? That's all you had to say. That's all. That's
It
all
will. I mean, the police corruption and then just how they were doing the residents of Boston of Baltimore. I'm literally like,
But Kev, that's a TV show. That's fiction. That's not real life.
oh no, it's based on a fact. It's based on. It's
You
based
get
on.
what you get. What
Yeah,
I
I know
say.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. This is again, even going back full circle back to Buffalo, you know. Dude lived.
Oh, that's a whole nother story, but that's a whole nother topic.
You know, they talked him down enough to get him to come out. And,
Killed folks.
you
And he
know,
wasn't-
at least if I'm not mistaken, this time they didn't stop at Wendy's.
right. No Burger King.
No Burger King. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
They didn't get him a Royale with cheese.
Listen, he might need Samuel to come give him a Royale with cheese. Listen,
So you know the to me it's always the proverbial. Well, guys, okay, you know the due process is going to happen. Calm down. It's not that big a deal, and it's that to me is what probably creates that antagonizing is probably what creates more of the anger and frustration more than anything is
Yeah.
this idea that there should for some reason not be outrage, like just let this whole thing take its course, as though there's been a track record of successful prosecution of people who everybody knows is guilty other than the people in the court.
Right. Well, there's also that same statement that, well, Tari, white people get killed by police also. I'm not saying they don't. That
but
we
it's
know
not,
that.
it's not proportionate, dummy. It's
You're
not
preaching to the choir, brother.
No, I'm not calling. I'm talking. It's not proportional.
Yeah, and so yeah, it's that whole mindset that, like you said, Darren, that things are being blown out of proportion. It's not as really bad as what you say it is. Okay, but living life in my skin for 52 years, and then you tell me something different. Just let me know.
So alongside that, there is, as we talked about, there is one of the things that has been talked about with this young man and this man, excuse me, and his ideology, which is that of, again, the replacement ideology, which has been talked about and discussed often by folks like Tucker Carlson, and we know the Charlestown protesters that were there that, Trump said that they were very fine people on both sides. It's that same type of thing. But it again, it is this idea that you can't replace people. Now, here's the question, because I know it won't happen, but someone pointed out that Charles Manson was jailed even though he was nowhere near the murders. But he was put in jail and put under the prison because he gave voice and gave ideas and influenced those that did. So, should folks like Tucker Carlson, the Republican leaders that have been saying that this is Fed Boy Summer, and basically saying that it was a hoax put on by the government, should these individuals, and let's even go a step further, individuals like Greg Locke, I won't call him Pastor Greg Locke, but Greg Locke, who basically said that if you vote Republican, you can't be a Christian, which, if you really want to dig into the coded language, basically, because again, black people do vote Democrat at a higher rate than white people, or than vote Republican. You're basically saying that black Christians aren't Christians. Do we then throw them in the jail because of their ideology that is influencing lots and lots of people?
So what did you say Greg Locke said
So
again?
Greg Locke went on this whole rant
You said
of
if they vote Republican or vote Democrat.
if they vote Democrat, they can't be Christian.
Okay, you originally said Republican. That's what
I'm
threw me
sorry.
off.
Yes.
Okay.
If you vote Democrat, you can't be a Christian. In fact, get out of my church
Oh,
if
I've
you
I've
vote
heard
Democrat.
that. Man, I've heard that for decades. That if you're really a Christian, you can't vote Democrat. If you are a Democrat, you're going to hell. Okay, all right. So tell that to my mom and dad that have
Tell that
brought
to Jesus, who ain't he's not neither Republican nor
hundreds,
Democrat.
hundreds
In
of hundreds of people.
fact, in fact, there are some parts of the Democratic ideology and thought process that seem to line up more with taking care of the poor.
Sermon on the Mount.
That seem to be more concerned with the individual and more concerned with helping people than making war against everybody. But
There you go, using logic and common sense again, Kevin. What's wrong with you? How dare you?
sorry,
I,
sorry.
I had
I,
this conversation. God, this was probably four. It was right after Amy passed. About 4 or 5 years ago. The same conversation. I said, if we take what it says, yeah, I'm no. Jesus was not a Democrat because guess what? There were no parties back then. But if you take that thought process and you just look at the Sermon on the Mount alone, it has more similarities to what we see the far left and what we see on the far right. And nobody thinks about that, which is why I'm an independent, because I'll look at the person for who they are and what they believe in. I Jesus, there was no party for Jesus. Guess what? I don't have to be. I don't have to
And
be put into that mold.
and he
It
didn't
doesn't
speak
work that
English
way.
either.
Say it
nor
again.
was he American.
He didn't speak English.
Exactly. And it wasn't even close. Well,
He would.
Jesus read the King James. You knew that, right? That's what Jesus read. He read the King James.
He
You
read
know
his
that, right?
he read his own words.
Yeah, he read his own words. He
He
read
wrote
he read the
it.
King James.
I
Did
got
you
a
read
I got
this
an
redneck
autograph.
edition?
I got an autograph King James version
Autograph
signed by Jesus.
by Jesus. King James, mind you.
Yes,
Yes.
the Dakes King James version.
Oh boy, you went
Lord,
way back.
Lord.
Hey, Dake's Bible, bro.
Dakes. The scary thing about Dakes, and I think this is the scary thing about a lot of the stuff that we are steeped in, particularly in this country, which is another reason why you got to get up out of here. You got to see the rest of the planet. People don't even think the way we think. Like
No,
they
they
don't
don't.
even interact with each other in a manner that we would. We
Mm-mm.
would take offense at some of the things and some of the ways that they are just seem to them as normal, and they take offense to the way we are and how we handle our interactions and our
Yes,
relationships and just our world view is
our
just a
mindset.
stench to a lot of people. And until you get out from around all of this and realize, you know what, there are some parts of this world that literally do not care my color of. They literally don't care what the color of my skin is, and it's not just me landing in a country where it's majority black. There's a whole lot of places that's the last thing that's going to
The last
differentiate
thing.
me,
Yeah.
and and so anyway, I forgot the point I was going to make, but that was, you gotta free yourself from the trap of your own environment. You have to do it. If you're gonna, everybody want to get, they want to go to Cancun, or they want to go to Jamaica, they want to go to the Bahamas, they want to go, on these wonderful vacations. Do that, by all means, do that. But get outside of the whitewashed environment
Yeah.
that, um, and your first trip should be via internet. Just pick a place on just go to Google World, Google Globe, literally, and spin that joker.
And
Don't
and
pick
and,
Haiti.
and
Just
let
don't
me
pick
point
Haiti.
out.
Just don't pick Haiti.
Listen, let me point out. All of Africa is not huts and dirt.
No, it's
Listen,
not.
Just like all of Oklahoma in tumbleweed and teepees.
Tumbleweed and cowboys
it's
and
close
covered
though.
wagons,
Oh
right?
wow! Thanks, Kevin.
Oh
Thanks, Kevin.
wow.
He said it's close.
But Darren, you said something, man, and I know I've said it on here before, but anybody watching, and it just speaks to what you just said, Darian. I know we've talked about the show, The Newsroom, but there's an opening monologue in the very first episode of that show that speaks to that when we say whitewashing, we're not just talking about white, we're just talking about the general mindset of America and how we're the best country in the world. Now, I love living here. Don't get me wrong, but that's created a mindset that we're better than everybody in everything, and we're not. Do what Darian said. Update your passport or get a real ID, whatever you
Get
want
a
to do,
passport first of
and
all.
go somewhere and understand and realize that we're not what you think we are when it comes to the rest of the world. We're not this best apple pie
Wait,
flag waving. We're best in everything. Watch that monologue and you'll understand exactly what Darian said and what
yes.
I've been saying for decades.
Our news, and this is kind of bringing it back full circle, kind of what I think, Darren, you talked about earlier as far as just kind of how things are pushed down. Our news is completely different
Yes.
than the rest of the world.
Yes.
There is stuff that is happening outside of the United States that we don't know unless we know where to go to find that information as
Yeah.
far as what's actually going on in other parts of the world.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Go ahead, Darian. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, even with that, if you tap into some of the, particularly the major news sources, global news sources outside of the United States,
Mm-hmm.
they'll report on the stuff going on in the United States on a completely different level, and they'll give information. That's why I said at the beginning, we are subjected to, we are
Yes.
being, manipulated
Yeah.
by the way the media is run in this country, and people
Yeah.
just don't want to believe that,
Mm-hmm.
dude.
That's why I watch BBC News a lot.
When when BBC gave a report on something President Obama did, wasn't a good look. Wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
good look at all. But
Right.
it was highly. We didn't hear any of it here in the U.S. And I was like, I was shocked. Not that Obama did anything. He's a president, so I didn't that
Right.
didn't faze me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But it was the fact that it was for us in the country, it was almost like a bait and switch. Like, we're
Yeah.
gonna give
Mm-hmm.
you something to distract you with, you know. I don't know how many times people have seen this in movies where, you've got a president in the movie, some type of presidential crisis movie,
Right.
and the president picks up the phone and calls the reporter,
Mm-hmm.
brings the reporter in, brings the news, the owner of the news, they gives and says, "Hey, I need you to hold that. I know, I can't technically tell you not to print it, but I need you to hold that. Or if I give you this story, will you not run that one?" There's political game going on when it comes to media all the
All
time,
the time.
Mm-hmm.
and we just cannot. We can't allow ourselves to just be subjected to what we're technically allowed to get our
Yeah.
hands on.
Yeah.
Real
And
empowerment is going to be when you step outside of this arena and begin to truly empower your own thoughts, your own thinking. Real quick shout out. If you guys ever get a chance, Andy Stanley on his leadership podcast, he talks about leading from the middle, and the way he breaks down, he said, leading from the middle. It's in the middle that things actually get changed.
right.
Mm-hmm.
From the extreme, you get attention, but in the middle, you actually get change, and it's hard to lead from the middle. And he used certain examples of people that we would know, but he understood how they were in the middle, and so being in the middle means I'm not going to fully agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not going to disagree with you either. But I'm not going to fully agree with you, nor disagree with you either. You have great points. You have great points. But I'm going to form my own mind as to what this is supposed to be. And we've gotten, we've gotten way, way beyond that, man. We are still wrestling with herd mentality.
Darren, I've been saying that for as long as I can remember, and I keep having people, even to this day, tell me, "Well, you got to pick a side." What are you talking about? I'm my own person. I can form my own thoughts, and that's why I say, yes, I think from the middle. Ashley knows me. I don't deal with extremes very well, whether it's left or any thought process. The middle is where we need to be. Well, I just don't compromise. That's not what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to
That's a
think
problem.
on your own
But that's a
and
problem.
formulate your
Critical
own
thinking.
opinions. Critical thinking, Kevin, is obviously a luxury nowadays. It's something that people just don't. It's it's a
Critical
privilege.
thinking is they're what was the word I'm going to say? They're on a test, and then that's it. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And I had somebody say to me, and it's along the different lines, but it talks about how we see things here in America. Somebody literally said to me, "Wait a minute, you all have commercials about different drugs for you to recommend to your doctor?" I said, "Yeah, it's kind of stupid, isn't it?" He said, "Wait a minute, you're supposed to recommend this drug that you saw on TV on a commercial to your doctor that has gone to medical school, and you're supposed to know more than them." I said, "Yeah, welcome to capitalism."
May cause bleeding, may cause death, may cause ear infections,
Right.
may
Yeah.
cause eye falling out.
Listen,
I know
when
a
you
lot of stuff.
Do
Don't
not
get
take
me
if you're
wrong,
allergic to it. How
but
am I
I
supposed to know
don't.
if I'm allergic to it?
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
Do not
doc,
take
this is what they said on the commercial. Let me get a prescription for that. No.
If you find yourself excessive gambling, stop.
there was one, I remember
Yes.
seeing that.
Yes.
Yes.
Man, listen, if you got to dedicate 15 seconds, 20 seconds of a
Of a
2 minute
35
commercial
second or a 35-second commercial. If
to all the
25 seconds
things, yeah,
Right.
that you need to watch out for.
and the only reason that they're fitting in is because you speed it up.
Yes. It's like the Micro Machine Man back in the day. You remember him?
Yes.
The dude that talks stupid fast. Yeah, that's literally what that is.
Never mind.
If Twista and Busta
Right?
Rhymes are doing your voiceover, there might
Yeah.
be a problem.
There
All
might
right,
be a
listen, we are at the end of our time. We actually
my
went over,
God.
but it's okay.
That went by quick.
Yeah, but but we covered a couple of different things. Darian, did you ever come up with your other NBA player? So I'll say Allen Iverson in there because he is another player that is just under 6 feet.
I'd have done Allen, but he didn't do any dunk contests. So
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's it for this episode of Chop It Up. We are not going to be on next week as I am with my boo, spending time in Hotlanta. Pray for us because it's Atlanta.
I'm trying not to hate.
Well, it's humid. It's humid there. That's the problem.
Oh, it ain't Atlanta. It's you and your boo.
Oh, yes.
I know, right? I know, right?
We're gonna be in Atlanta,
I ain't mad at
going
you.
around to all the spots.
I ain't mad at you either, brother.
I ain't mad at you at
live your
all.
life, bro.
Not at all.
Live your
Enjoy.
life, man. Yes.
All right, that's it for this one. Y'all have a great one. We'll see you next time. Be blessed.